Good morning everyone. The video I present here is a tutorial to learn how to design a half-wave dipole. The effort of designing a half-wave dipole will also make us learn a new tool. It's actually not a new tool. It's a very simple, basic, free of cost tool known as 4NEC2. So first of all, let's see what tool we are going to use. See, there's a tool known as 4NEC2. It is freely available on qsl.net, and this is the link to download it. You can download the setup, Windows setup also, or you can download the copy pasted version of it, and it does not need to be installed. And the latest version that you can find here is 5.8.17. So when you install this, let me click on this. See, the zip folder is being installed, and let me go to the location where it is getting installed. Yeah, so it gets installed like a zip folder, and once you go inside it, there's a setup file. I'm not going into the installation process of this 4EC2 because it is pretty straightforward. You just have to double click on it and press next, and it will get installed in the C drive of your program files of your operating system. So once it gets installed, its icon will look something like this. This is the icon of 4NEC2. Okay, let us start with the aim that we are going to do with this tool. Uh, this tool is very good to design linear antennas, and the first linear antenna that we are going to look today is a half-wave dipole. Let's see what we are going to do. We are going to design a half-wave dipole that will work at 300 megahertz, and let's see a little bit if people don't know what is a half-wave dipole. A half-wave dipole is a balanced antenna which contains two similar type of metallic shapes that are connected to a balanced transmission line. See, let's say this is a transmission line which is connected to an alternating supply. This positive line will go to one of the poles and the negative line will go to one of the poles, and since this supply this supply is balanced, it will have equal and opposite voltages. So as the basics for dipole say that it is um, separation of two similar and opposite charges with a small distance. This small dipole will start radiating, and the length of this dipole should be half wavelength. So let's see what do we mean by half wavelength. See, this is a calculation. Basically, one might say that the name is half-wave dipole, so it should be lambda by 2, where lambda is the wavelength. But the proper way to design a half-wave dipole is by using this formula, the first formula that you see. This formula says that length of the dipole plus diameter of the dipole should be equal to 0.48 lambda. So it is not zero point 0.5 lambda, it is 0.48 lambda. The reason behind this is when an antenna radiates, it gives fringing fields from its edges. So these fringing fields will make the antenna look a little bit larger than its actual physical length. So to compensate that, rather than keeping 0.5 of lambda, we are keeping here 0.48 of lambda. And let's consider the frequency that we are going to design for is 300 megahertz. So the operating wavelength for 300 megahertz frequency is 1 meter. Now the diameter of the dipole should be of the order of 1 by 100 of lambda. So 1 by 100 of 1 meter would be around 1 centimeter. And now keeping everything that we have calculated in this above formula, which is length plus diameter is equals to 0.48 lambda. So the length will come out to be 0.47 meters. Now how to use this dimension to make a dipole? We have to imagine a three-dimensional coordinate system where we are planning to put the dipole on y-axis. We'll put the dipole on y-axis such that half of the dipole lies on the positive side of the y-axis and the other half lies on the negative side of the y-axis. And there is no need to keep that antenna anywhere around z or x-axis. So we'll keep the antenna at z equals to 0, and the x also is equals to 0. So the antenna will only be at y-axis. To do this, what we need to do is we need to determine the coordinates of the two ends of this dipole. X1, Y1, Z1, let it be the uh, coordinate that is on the positive y-axis. So it will be 0 minus length by 2 comma 0. Minus length by 2, why we are taking? Because we need to keep half of the antenna on one side and the other half on the other side. So we can do this both the ways. We can keep here plus length by 2 and the other side minus length by 2, and or we can take here plus length by 2 also and here minus length by 2. According to the diagram that I have made, it should be this way. X1, Y1, Z1 should be at positive end and X2, Y2, Z2 should be at negative end. Okay, let us jump directly to 4NEC2 tool. Whenever you will open 4NEC2, it will just open the last edited antenna design that you were making. So it has opened something, too many windows here. So not to worry about it. Just whenever this main file gets opened, click on settings. Make sure that you have selected NEC editor new. Now click on this icon which is showing a little hand tool holding a pen. When you click on this, it will open NEC editor. So this NEC editor might have already some entries in it. We just need to click on file and press new so that we can enter the new dimensions that we are deciding. So first click on the symbol tab. We are going to put here all the name and the dimensions that we have calculated just now. So starting with lambda that we calculated was 1 meter. I'll put only 1 because see here in the scaling the unit that is selected is by default meters and we want to put it in meters, so I'll put only 1. Now the other dimension was length of the dipole. So length of the dipole that we calculated was 0.47 meters. The last dimension that we need to put was diameter, so I'll put dia equals to 0.01 meters. Now let's go to geometry tab. In geometry tab we need to put the starting and ending coordinate of a half wave dipole. When you click on this type column, it will give you a drop down. Because we are designing a linear antenna, we'll choose wire among all these options. The tag is actually an identifier or a number that we need to give. Usually people start giving from 1 and 2, 3, 4 and so on. So because there's only one structure that is there in our antenna, I'll put here 1. Now segments. The segments are the number of pieces that we want our antenna to be divided. So usually whenever a center fed antenna is made, we allot the number of segments as an odd number because it will be easy to find a center point of these odd numbers. So I'll put 11 here. So x1, y1 and z1, x2, y2 and z2 are the starting and ending coordinates of our dipole. We have already decided that our dipole will be placed on y-axis. So the starting point of our antenna should be length by 2 and z should be 0, and at the ending coordinate we'll put 0, length by 2 and then 0. So this will make our antenna starting from minus length by 2 end till length by 2, and all other things are 0, so our antenna will be placed on y-axis. The radius should be diameter divided by 2. We have already specified a variable known as dia. Now let's go to the other tab, which is source /load. We need to specify what amount of voltage we want to excite our antenna with. Tag is again an identifier that will identify if there are more than one supplies. Right now we have only one supply, so we'll put here 1. The segment is the segment of the dipole where we need to give the supply, because we need to choose the center of the supply. So starting from 1 to 11, the central segment of our antenna would be 6. We have our antenna has 11 segments and the center point of 11 would be 6, so that's why I've chosen here 6. And leave this opt tab. Real would actually we have to enter here the amount of voltage we need to put. Usually people give a normalized voltage, so I'll put 1. 1 will correspond to 1 volt. Imaginary is actually, see, our voltage might have some phase as well. If we want to have a 0 phase in our supply, we'll put real as 1 and imaginary as 0. Automatically the phase will become 0. Now moving ahead to this frequency and ground tab. This tab will automatically have 300 megahertz. It might have some other value, but you need to make it 300 megahertz because we have calculated everything for 300 megahertz. And then we need to save this. If you can save this as it is, it will save with this name underscore new.nec. Or what could we have done is, we could have done file save as, and we could have saved it with the name, let's say dipole. This can also be done. Yeah. Now this last icon here, you can see this is run NEC. To start simulation, we need to click this button. So after clicking this button, this small window will open. We have to select far field pattern, and with this far field pattern here in this window, you need not to do anything. Just click on generate. This will start simulation. The first window after this simulation you will see will be, just a second. Yeah, this window. This window is actually the radiation pattern of a half wave dipole. This is a two-dimensional radiation pattern. By pressing space bar, we can change it from vertical plane to horizontal plane. Because our antenna is placed along the y-axis, the vertical and horizontal plane will look same. The best way is to click on the up or down arrow key. By clicking on the up arrow key and keep on clicking, we can see that the view of the radiation pattern is changed. As expected, a dipole should radiate in the pattern of 8 or infinity. So this is the plane which is theta is equals to 90 degree. At this plane, this antenna is radiating in a figure of pattern of 8. When we look the antenna from y-axis, our radiation pattern should look in the shape of a circle. See, at around 180 degree, this radiation pattern is looking like a circle. So we can also look at the three-dimensional radiation pattern of a designed antenna. So we just need to click this 3D button here. By clicking on 3D, you'll see this window. In this window, just click on this hide pattern drop down menu. We need to click on multicolored. As soon as you click on multicolored, you will see this radiation pattern, three-dimensional radiation pattern, which looks just like donut, and you can see our dipole antenna also just going through it. And this legend shows that our maximum gain of our antenna is 2.14. So we can move around this antenna. We can look at it from all the sides, and yeah, this is the two ways you can see. After looking at the radiation pattern, now there is one more important result that we need to look at. Whenever we design an antenna, we are mostly interested whether it is radiating at the designed frequency or not. Because we have designed our antenna at 300 megahertz, we need to make sure that it is really resonating at that frequency or not. So the way to do is let's run the simulation again. Now this time, rather than clicking on far field pattern, we'll click on frequency sweep. When we click on frequency sweep, this these new options will appear because our antenna is working at 300 megahertz, and our rectangular graph should have a frequency scale on the x-axis. Our 300 megahertz should look somewhere at the center. So 290 to 310 gigahertz, this range will make our 300 megahertz appear at the center of the range. So just click on generate. Now we see that there are two graphs visible here. One is VSWR, another one is reflection coefficient. One thing I need to tell you is that the theoretically or practically the theoretically the VSWR should be around 1. Practically it should be anything less than 2. So VSWR, if it is less than 2 for the desired range of frequency, it is fine. So our graph of VSWR, it is just below 2. So we can say that 300 megahertz is also in the working range, and around 290 to around 306 to 307 megahertz is also inside tolerable range. Also the reflection coefficient, which is also known as return loss, it should be less than minus 10 dB. Means the graph should be below minus 10 dB. Minus 10 dB is the tolerance level of this reflection coefficient. But the expected graph should have a dip near 300 megahertz. As you can see, this dip is coming at the initial frequency, that is 290 megahertz. Good thing that we have designed our antenna in such a way that it can easily be altered. So just click on this edit NEC input file again and just go to symbols. What we are seeing that our resonant frequency is a little bit lower than what we were expecting. So because lambda is inversely proportional to frequency, we have to decrease the length of our antenna. So let us make it around 4.455, and again press generate. See, now our dip of reflection coefficient is coming exactly at 300 megahertz. So this is how we can adjust, optimize our antenna design, and that is why it is good to keep the variables instead of dimensions. Also, if you click on this gain radio button, you can see the gain of our antenna, which is around 2.11 dB. The gain of our antenna is 2.11 dB. This graph shows it. It is uniform all around, and this front to back ratio is 0. Why? Because the dipole antenna, the amount it radiates in front, the same amount it radiates at the back, and front to back ratio is the ratio of front radiation and back radiation.